Last week was quite the busy news week for Nintendo, from the mini direct to all the 2018 musings from men in charge, and now we have some commentary from the one and only Emily Rogers. What's going on, everybody? It's Zach from Switchforce. I've got Gabe here, and Emily Rogers has been possibly the most reputable of Nintendo truth diggers, and she now has some new details, which Gabe is going to share with us all.
Yes, this digs into a little bit of the Kimishima bits that we talked about yesterday, as well as a few more tidbits. And I think I'm just going to read from the thread here on Reset Error, where Emily is an administrator. She says, "I just want to offer some food for thought. What I'm about to say might not make much sense today, but hopefully this post will make more sense as the year progresses. I apologize for sounding cryptic or vague. I'm trying to point everyone's hopes and expectations for 2018 in the right direction without spoiling announcements." Kudos to her on that. Then she continues to say, "First, I think we've been a bit spoiled by Nintendo Directs because the truth is, not every Nintendo game announcement requires a big general direct or even a mini-sized direct. Sometimes uploading and dumping a short video or trailer on YouTube is more than enough to create a ton of buzz for a product." And then she does link to an example where the Nintendo Switch reveal trailer was just kind of put out there. They didn't do a presentation for it at all, and that did really well. It has like 35 million views, something like that. And then she goes on to talk about the key points that Kimishima talked about, such as attracting new players, where Kimishima has stated that he wants to attract quote-unquote new players. This includes small children and consumers who have barely touched game consoles. 2. In October 2016, Kimishima told Bloomberg that Nintendo was planning for a new accessories and add-on hardware. It's very likely that these accessories will include new software. So maybe we can stop here and talk about this for a little bit. Zach, this is very reminiscent of things that they did with the Wii, right? We had a tennis racket for sale for Wii Sports, things of that nature. Switch Sports is something that we mentioned a few times. You know, that would be really, really cool. But what do you feel about new accessories and add-on hardware that are going to come out, and probably with some type of software from Nintendo as well? Think Nintendo Land, think Wii Sports, things like that.
Yeah, I mean, if it's more in the vein of Nintendo Land or even Wii Sports Resort, I'm okay with it. If it's more in the vein of Wii Fit, I really don't want the Switch to be this kind of all machine that tries to appeal to... I think where Nintendo has hit a home run is by focusing. And yes, the Switch is a split platform that can do both handheld and home console, but it's also very focused in the kinds of experiences and the kinds of games, and I don't feel like this, now we're going to sort of split everything up into these different... Like, when has that worked? Except when Guitar Hero and Rock Band were very successful, accessory-based games have never been that big of a deal. Even for things like the Kinect, didn't really pan out. And then you look at more one-off examples like Tony Hawk Ride. I know that Nintendo had success with the Wii Fit Balance Board and things like that, but I don't want that. I mean, look at the 3DS, how that worked with the add-on thumbstick, even the new 3DS, the boosted graphics, and how that was not adopted. I mean, we can even see right now that, yes, they sold pretty well, but Xbox One X, PlayStation 4 Pro, I don't think those have even panned out to be as exciting as people expected. So I really would rather Nintendo just keep on grinding with the games and the partnerships that they are putting into place. And we'll touch on more of that third-party stuff later. But unless it's going to be, hey, it's a gamer's game that also offers a way to play that's more simplistic, that's fine. But I do not want to see this devolve into Good Morning America, you know, the soccer mom console.
Okay, I want to touch on two things here. One, I believe that if they limit this, and it's not a ton of accessories, let's say they just do Switch Sports, just hypothetically, right, and they have just like a couple of things, like I don't know, maybe a tennis racket. If they keep the number of plastic peripherals like down to where it's just not a bunch like it was on Wii, I think they should be okay. I think.
But aren't we past that? Haven't we gone through that fad of gaming?
Yeah, I mean, I like to think so, but if Nintendo thinks there's still value in it, and you know, this leads me to the second point I want to make. I don't think it's going to be accessories the way we're thinking about them. I don't think balance board is what we should expect. I think it's accessories that you can attach to the Switch. Like, you're going to be able to slide them in like the Joy-Con, but these are going to be something else. So I feel like maybe that would be a little bit more interesting and different.
Yes, that I'd be down with. If this is merely, hey, we're going to come up with some sort of accessory that allows for, I don't know, multiplayer with just the console, or like, okay, 4 people on the same Switch, or something of that sort, cool. Or if it allows for maybe a simplistic, I don't know how you get more simplified than the Joy-Con, but a more simplistic way to play, or maybe even a more complicated controller, although that would go against his new players' comments. I'm fine with that. If it just attaches to the Switch, cool. I just don't want to be lugging around. Again, I feel like that goes against the Switch's philosophy, and I feel like that goes against where gaming has headed in the last couple of years.
Okay, but Zach, we'll move on to the next point here, the third one. It says, last month, Kimishima said that Nintendo hopes to increase momentum by releasing games that offer, quote, new ways to play. That's part of their plan to sell 20 million units in fiscal year 2018. New ways to play could mean like new attachments for like the Switch itself. And this goes back to another comment that another Nintendo executive made where they said, hey, we can attach more than Joy-Cons to this thing.
Right.
So this is all kind of lining up. New ways
and she bolds new ways to play. That's got to be the focal point here. And is a new button layout a new way to play? Or are we talking more like, hey, it's like a touchpad?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't want a touchpad, personally.
And we know it's not going to be VR. So what is a new way to play?
Yeah, it's so cryptic. But they do, or Emily, does go on to say, Nintendo is not abandoning core gamers in an attempt to attract new players. They believe they can attract new players while still keeping core gamers interested and happy. And that does lead into the third-party section of what she says here. She says, under number 4 here, Nintendo is under no pressure to reveal all of their third-party titles in January, and that makes perfect sense to me. Keep in mind that Doom, Wolfenstein 2, LA Noire, and WWE 2K18 weren't revealed for Switch until the very last 3 months of 2017. Also, Mario plus Rabbids and Rocket League were not revealed until E3. So she's maintaining that just because we don't know about a ton of third-party stuff doesn't mean it's coming. They're under no pressure to just, blow their load super early and tell you absolutely everything that's coming. They are maybe sparsing out the surprises throughout the year. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, and I think, again, they have no obligation, as you mentioned, to just dish their entire year lineup. And they have found a lot of success in kind of building hype through ebb and flow periodically with directs or with announcements or whatever. I am interested to see what this third-party lineup that she touts ends up being. She says in her next point, Square Enix, Ubisoft, Bandai Namco, trust me, there's good stuff coming. You'll be pleasantly surprised. That's, to me, I read that as the big franchises coming day and date. I don't think people are pleasantly surprised or good stuff coming means like more in the vein of Wolfenstein 2, like 6-month-old games, right? Like, it's got to be more day and date type releases like Dark Souls Remastered, things of that sort.
I also think we need to recalibrate what third party means, right? Because Lost Sphere, a game I'm very excited about coming out at the end of this month, that's a third party game, and it's coming to Switch, like day and date. So again, smaller games like that, I mean, even though I don't think Lost Sphere is too small, it's a niche game. It's a JRPG in a traditional sense. So things like that I feel like we could include as well. But she does go on to just talk about all the third-party stuff that's happening and how she says that third-party is a major focus for them this year. And that's important, right? Because on a year that we continue to maintain that it's very difficult to keep up with the caliber of first-party releases they had last year, third parties going to need to lift the load a little bit, especially since Nintendo's going to be trying to do some new things here, whether it be introducing the peripherals like we're mentioning or, sticking to a little bit more like family centric stuff for the year. We can skip over those points since we've talked about them here. But she does say, lastly, Kimishima himself said different sorts of genres would be covered by third parties, which will help expand the system's user base. So if you, she says, so if you don't want to take my word for it, take Kimishima's. And she's talking about the fact that third party is going to be where it's at for this year.
And different genres, to me, that's where we say, okay, we're going to get Call of Duty, we're going to get Assassin's Creed, things that Nintendo has no desire or plans to really cover. And her final thoughts, which we can jump into, is if there is any announcement this week, don't automatically assume it's a direct or a mini direct. There is such a thing as a short trailer uploaded on YouTube, If there is any announcement this week, don't automatically assume it'll appeal to core Nintendo fans and older gamers. So it sounds like she is hinting at or anticipating herself some sort of casual friendly announcement from Nintendo.
For this week, it seems like.
Right.
This post was made today at like 5:34 a.m., something like that. So, yeah, I'm going to definitely keep my eyes peeled on the Nintendo YouTube page and see what they upload. I mean, honestly, I'm all for some family-friendly stuff. You have your family that you play with. I have friends and stuff that, things like this would be fun. I'm not saying it's Switch Sports. That's not what I'm trying to say. But if it is something like that, that could be really exciting even for the hardcore audience.
Yeah, and I think it's all building towards this idea of new ways to play, new accessories. That has been the focal point from many of these interviews as of late, and it seems to be something that Emily Rogers is definitely directing attention towards. So to me, it seems like we could be seeing / getting our first non-traditional Switch accessory this week, and it offers a new way for casual players to experience the console. I really cannot predict what that could be outside of again, simplified controls is what I think of first, but I don't know how you go more basic than the Joy-Con unless it is some sort of touchpad or it's going to begin to integrate mobile-friendly games.
Which we don't want.
Which we don't want. But as Emily says, don't assume it's going to appeal to core Nintendo fans and older gamers, which that's us both.
Yeah, we are old.
Keep your eyes peeled on Nintendo's YouTube. Keep your eyes on Reset Era, and keep your eyes on Switch Force because we will have you covered. Let us know your take on all of Emily's commentary in the comments down below. Big shout out to her, as always, for being the go-to gangster for Switch secrets and Switch upcoming interesting news. Until that news actually breaks, though, thanks so much for watching. Fantastic day for myself and Gabe. Switch Force out.